Good morning, Commissioners. I'm glad to be here today. Again, my name is Brian Olson. I'm the Executive Director for El Paso County Facilities and Strategic Infrastructure Management. So today, we're here to talk about our 2024 critical needs list. And as you all know, facilities is an internal services department, and we either directly or indirectly support all of the county's elected offices and departments and their missions and how they help and support our county. The strategic plan and how we most impact the strategic plan is going to be through the first objective, which is infrastructure. Some of those that I've decided to put into this presentation is big impact is ADA. We have to ensure that all county citizens have equal access to county services. So the way we do that is to make sure there's no barriers in accessing those services through coming into our county facilities from the parking lot all the way to the front door to the department they're visiting. And we've done a great job. And if you go into the county website, you can see some of the things that we've done in accessing our ADA transition plan. Another thing we've done is a direct effect to our budgets is utility efficiencies. El Paso County, we have 132 buildings that the county uses to support the community and over 3 million square feet of buildings. So it's important that we look at ways to best to ensure, again, the efficiencies of our utilities. And one great thing that we've been doing is we've been applying for grants and how to do upgrades for LED lighting. And it's been a busy year. We're waiting for a lot of answers back on a couple of federal grants right now, and we feel pretty good on the possibilities of getting those grants done. As many of you know, we're working on our facilities master plan, and that master plan is looking in the future use of our buildings and space needs, current space needs, future space needs, which also includes a building assessment and how the conditions of our buildings and how to best prioritize funding in the future is, how to support those buildings and keep them operating. So being an internal services department, our other objective how we support the strategic plan is the second objective, so service quality. A shout out to my team and Randy Stacy and Shauna Southers here today. They're been working for almost 3 years now to adopt a new program. It's an online work order system. And again, I want to give appreciation to Nikki Simmons and to Jeff at IT for their support on this. This will be basically taking us out of the Stone Age. We've been working on, when our customer, which is the county employees, when they need help with a building, they just send an email or make a phone call. So this new system will help us to prioritize work orders as they come in and direct those to the proper departments and get those done immediately. We are a 24/7 operation, so if we have emergencies, the phone's still there and we're still answering them. So another great thing that we've initiated this year is a new project management software. Our projects continue to increase, and it's important for us to be able to manage those projects, track costs, tracks our projects where they're at. And we've actually found a great new system this year. It's a low cost and software that's really helping us to do our jobs, and has become our focal point of when we do our project meetings each week on where we're at on things, and allows our project managers, our project supervisors to let us know where we're at. It helps me to stay on target with where we're on those projects as well. So some cost indicators, and that number there, the 429%, really jumped out at me. And so, I took over facilities in 2017, so I kind of use that as my base. That first year after that is where are we at in facilities? We've reduced our overtime by 429%. That's a huge amount of money. And really, it's a testament to our county team, which you can see up here. There are a lot of our supervisors here, on how we're taking care of county facilities, improving our infrastructure, policy changes, things on how we and how we're taking care of your county facilities. We've completed, so far in the last 12 months, we've completed over 16,000 work orders. That's a 4% increase year over year. And we talked about utilities, and you can see here our expenses are up 5%. And I did a little bit of breakdown of that. Water reduction we've actually reduced our water use by 1%, 3% for electric. So the reason why our costs have gone up is really because of propane and natural gas. And while we've done so many things to help make our buildings be more efficient, we can't control the costs as they go up, as our suppliers go up. But I can tell you that if a lot of these things weren't done, we'd have a significant effect to our budget and utilities.
Commissioner Geithner.
I just want to ask a quick question on this. When you say water, there's a 1% reduction. Is this a 1% reduction in some unit of measurement of water, or is this the cost to that water?
It's the cost, but it's also in the amount of uses as far as gallons of water that we use.
So then on like the natural gas, because I agree, natural gas prices, spiked. And so in that case, are we using more natural gas significantly as well, or is that just simply the cost per unit?
Well, it's a good question. And so, when we have temperature drops and, low, these last couple of winters, there's been some times when temperatures have gotten really cold. So we can't control those situations when we will use more gas. But the answer to the question is we're pretty consistent year over year on how much gas we're using. So it's really due to the amount of rising costs.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And so I think a good thing I wanted to mention here is we have a spreadsheet that we track our internal performance. And what that is we have the team that's got the talent, the skills, the professionalism to maintain a lot of our operations. A lot of people don't understand what it takes to maintain county facilities. We have a central utility plant, boilers, steam boilers, chillers, and rather we decided to, if we're going to have those type of people, how can we track the cost savings by having them do it versus contracting out? And there's a use for contracting work out and doing work internally, but what we've shown is by projects like the coroner's office, their toxicology freezer went down, so we had to replace those freezers. By using internal work to actually install that equipment, installing freezers, hardware components. The criminal justice center is a big use of our resources here at the county as far as facilities goes, and the HVAC systems. We replace a lot of rooftop units, air conditioning units, all the above. But what we've shown is we've shown over $300,000 in savings by us being able to have the talent to do that work in-house. So that's allowed us to stretch that dollar to do more within the county and taking care of county facilities. Challenges. Pretty much like everywhere in the world, inflation has been an effector to us. Inflation is really raises the cost for materials. So those materials, whether it be construction projects or general maintenance, things that we do, it's had an effect on us. So that $300,000 helps us a lot to, keep the train on the tracks. Again, labor market, it's had a heavy effect to us in how we internal staffing, how we try to attract new talent in. It's hard to find people that are qualified and that can work and want to work, that can pass background checks and drug tests and all these things, especially in the state of Colorado. Contracts. So not only has it affected contracts for the cost to do things, but timing. So our contractors are having a hard time finding people to do projects. So it is stretching our projects out to get them done, and it can be frustrating to people. So it's good for everyone to understand why that is. Supply chain. We found things that previous to COVID that would take a few weeks to get. Now we're finding it's months to maybe even years to get some materials and products from our suppliers, and that all kind of goes to the things we just talked about with the contracts and staffing and those things. And Commissioner Geithner, you would understand this. So Colorado legislation is made a lot of changes that they're having a heavy effect to El Paso County. Mandates on energy efficiencies. There's a large push to electrify county buildings. And these buildings are, they're older buildings, but they're designed around the mechanical components that we have. And just to change those things makes it complicated, if the technology even is there, but complicated to make these things work. And they really, because of this, they push a lot of unrealistic building goals on us. So 2023, we had some great successes, and some of these things you've heard about, but we actually finished all our DDC controls, our direct digital controls, and that's how we basically manage and monitor heating and controlling throughout the county's buildings. And this is one of those things that we help us to be efficient in how the buildings function, as far as utilities go, but also a safety thing. So especially for cybersecurity and how we can keep the bad guys from entering county computers through any means, which, and for those of you who may remember, Target actually had years ago, that's how they actually entered, they had a cyber attack to their HVAC facilities. I think a great thing I want to mention, I mentioned Criminal Justice Center is a large use of resources for us, the county. It's a 24/7 operation at the jail, and it is considered a critical piece of infrastructure. A project that Scotty Johnson, who's our building manager over there, they did some hand dryer installations, and you don't think what kind of effect that has, but so by doing those hand dryers, it saved the county $114,000 in those material costs for hand towels. But what happens is also those inmates, they may be having a bad day. They want to shove those things down drains, and we have clogged drain problems. So that causes us overtime and calls to come in there and to remove those drains, to clean those drains. So good example of how a small project can have a major effect on a county. The Swatch parking garage, we've updated our procedures and really have improved customer service with the county and how their experience is when they use our parking garages. We've done a lot of LED conversions continuing, and Kevin had mentioned some of his projects. We actually converted using our internal staff to convert LED lighting to their external parking lot, their lot for their employees and for their equipment, and then also for exterior lights in the building. The courthouse, we're almost complete. It should be shortly here, the hot water piping update. So we had to replace all the hot water pipes in the south building. It was a major project. That's almost completed. As you know, the facilities master plan is about that close. The building assessments have been completed. We're about to roll out the conditions of our buildings here shortly. Bear Creek Nature Center, we appreciate being able to work with parks on that. The Trailability Program, have you all heard about? We actually installed a new lift to transfer people in wheelchairs from their wheelchair to the I forgot the name of the trail hoppers. Thank you. So we have hired a new, we're expanding our roles with ADA. So previously, we've been focusing on infrastructure, but we know that that's only a part of what we need to make sure that we do properly here at the county. So we've hired a new person, allowing us to focus on programs and services and activities that the county supplies to the community. Great example of literature. Any kind of way that we communicate with the public, they help to work with those with our departments to ensure that we're ADA compliant. Last, again, to mention ADA, we're in the final phase of installing ADA, installing transfer showers in the cells. This allows inmates that have maybe walking disabilities to transfer from a wheelchair into their shower. So it keeps us out of legal liabilities by ensuring ADA compliance in that building. So we have two requests before you for critical needs. One of those in the past, again, this is not a new request, but elevators. But difference this year, and I appreciate Nikki's idea on this, is we're asking for $650,000 ongoing to support elevator maintenance and installations. This is obviously supported by the first objective of the strategic plan. We have 48 elevators in the county. So right now, we're doing a good job. We've got an elevator replacement plan. We've reviewed those based on the age of the elevators, based on the use, based on the operations they support, on which ones need to be replaced next. So we replaced 18 of those, about 38%, but 27% of the remaining elevators we have are 45 years and older. So we still have a ways to go yet. I appreciate the past support and both the board and by our county administrator. We're doing good things and we'll continue that. The other thing is $50,000 we're asking for ongoing for parks facilities maintenance. And so you know, and historically parks we've always supported the county in facilities obviously, and parks as well. They've kind of taken care of their own maintenance. And it just makes more sense for us to do that. This is what we do. And I mentioned we have the staff to do this stuff. So as we take on those duties to all of Parks facilities, which is the nature centers, the fairgrounds, these types of facilities, we're looking for $50,000 to ongoing to support those efforts. So as far as our base budget request, the difference from year over year is really the ongoing funding request that we have put in for today's presentation. And that's it.
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, again, great work. I think it's really awesome that we're thinking about our facilities holistically, and I think we've made an enormous amount of progress as a result of doing that. A couple of questions, though. So this is actually something that came to my mind when we did the Trailability program. And it's kind of a broader question, but I think it could possibly apply in specific cases. You know, we've got this, the American Disabilities Act, ADA, and that thing seems to be compelling everybody to put in hundreds of millions of dollars worth of curb ramps and all this kind of stuff. And then there's an enormous amount of investment in buildings that come as a result of that act and so forth. And now that I think about the Trailability program, what we did with Trailability was actually give the person with a disability a tool so they can go down a trail. So now I have this question: would it be more cost effective to just give people with a disability a tool that could go over a curb instead of spending tens of millions of dollars on ramps? Or would there be something that we could do to give a person with a disability a tool to move around in a building instead of completely revamping the building to accommodate those people? We do it by providing a better wheelchair, let's say, as opposed to 10,000 ramps. So I just am now curious, because of what we did with the Trailability program, is if there's in fact a better way to allow people that have whatever disabilities they have to access our buildings and services without having to do an enormous amount of expense in the building itself. So I don't even know if ADA even contemplates that idea. So that's my first question for you. And I don't know if there's some good thinking we can go through on that point.
Commissioner, I appreciate your comment. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Brent. Madam Chair, could I interject really quickly? Commissioner Vanderwerf, we could have a further discussion about this, but I don't believe the federal law allows for replacement of a wheelchair over ramps at public buildings. There's pretty well-established precedent on that. But I think that it's probably a topic worth chasing down a little bit further, probably down the road.
Yeah, I thank you. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the comments about the law. So that's kind of where the law might be, right? But it's sometimes this might not be an idea that is more cost effective. I don't know the answer, frankly, but I do feel like, wow, we're spending a lot of money on ramps and things like that, but maybe there is a better investment choice. So I would like to kind of just chase that down and see if there's something about that. The other question I have, and it's actually been a fairly common theme, because I also asked the question when DPW was here, and that's that the average age of these elevators are 45 years or older. I'll just be fair. That really doesn't mean anything to me, because like I was running the C-130 program for the Air Force, and we were dealing with 50-year-old airplanes. So it really, for me, the better comment is about what is the replacement? What is the proper replacement time when you're doing a pairwise comparison between the maintenance cost and the replacement cost? And you eventually get to a point where the return on investment in maintenance isn't worth it anymore. But in some of those cases, you might find conditions where the item could be 100 years old and it's actually cheaper to maintain it. And I think many of us have sometimes had these experiences where you replace an old item with a new item. The new item is more cheaply made, and therefore it ends up breaking more often. It's the old item that actually lasts longer. So I don't know what a 45-year-old elevator actually means.
Sure. Well, great comments, Commissioner. I would say that the issue that we come into a lot of these is similar to what DPW had, is when you have older, aging infrastructure, parts become obsolete. So the problem is an elevator that's 45 years old, we continue. We've got contracts with elevator companies that basically they look at the age of an elevator and the parts, and based on their history, what parts need to be replaced at what time in their life, and based on the usage, but it comes to a point where those parts just don't become available anymore. And so we either have to send in to make something, which is incredibly expensive and timely to have done, or it's best to just replace them. And, I think kind of going back to what you said, they don't make it like they used to on some of these things. But the other thing is efficiency, the energy efficiency. So a lot of this newer equipment is more efficient in how it operates for energy usage. And but elevators, the key, anything key in elevators is safety. And so I can tell you that components today are designed to be more safe than they were years ago. So there's lots that we could put into that. And but again, what we have to do is make sure that the building can operate. And if you've got 5 floors and an elevator's not functioning, and the DA's office is a great example, when you got 2 elevators and we were replacing them both at the same time, and people have to use stairs, gets into ADA. So if they can't use the stairs, it leaves us open for so many liabilities. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you. Just a couple of comments. Thank you for such a thorough presentation. I think there's so much that goes into each one of these slides. There's just so much information. And so I just want to comment on a couple of things that you mentioned. So one of the things that I feel like we are seeing a little bit of a trend with already this morning is how important it is to collect data and make smart and precise decisions that can have huge return, like small projects, small things that can have major savings and returns on investment. So I thank you for that as well, since that just has been a recurring theme this morning. But I also want to comment on a couple of things, in particular what you mentioned about the energy regulations and requirements coming down from the state. I'm very grateful to this board for allowing me to participate in a lot of that. And obviously, Commissioner Gonzalez does a lot through Colorado counties. And so this is an item that I'm going to mention is coming up in our Pikes Peak Promise that was rolled out. And this is not just a concern for us, but it's a concern across the region that we are all running into these. And so we are looking for ways to work on that and continue to do that at the state level. So thank you for bringing that up. And thank you for your work and helping us truly to have the data to really know. I mean, this is about good policy and good decision making. And when we see savings, when we see the technology being available to go cleaner and greener and just create better value for the county and for our citizens, we're doing those things. But we can't do it with a magic wand. It's got to be driven by reality. It's got to be driven by the market. It's got to be driven by the possibilities that are there and truly the economics of it. So we're going to continue to work on that, I know, but thank you for your work in helping us make those good decisions and putting forward good decisions to our state in terms of data and what we're doing here. I also wanted to point out, we've also seen on a couple of presentations this morning, we've talked about labor market. And I find this really interesting because as I was listening to an economic report on our nation this morning, one of the things that often is not connected in the media or when we have these conversations about the labor force and the low unemployment rate. We talk all the time, it's a low unemployment rate, it's great, low unemployment rate, so great. But there is a sweet spot, just like everything in the economy, where when we start to see an unemployment rate that is that dips really low, down below that 3%, and we've had particularly low here in our region, it does create another problem, which is we have such a tight labor market that we have a hard time getting people and competing, and then we have to raise salaries and we have to compete in other ways. So just a really, I think, important thing to mention that the economy is a big machine with lots of moving pieces, and every single time one of those pieces changes, there isn't a magic number. It's not just keep going lower and lower. It affects us in so many different ways. So just wanted to make that comment that while we are seeing that tight labor market and seeing problems here at the county, that's everywhere, and that is primarily due to the just different mechanisms in the economy that are causing those things. Maybe due to some of the policy choices, I think, during the pandemic as well. But that is definitely something for us to pay attention and be aware of, that there are a whole lot of levers that are moving, and we have to be aware that anytime we are impacting any of those levers, it comes up with unintended consequences.
Any other comments? I just wanted to thank you and your entire team. Oftentimes these facilities you do everything behind the scenes and under and around us, but the work you do is critical to ensuring that we can continue to provide the services that El Paso County citizens expect. And I'm grateful for you and your team for realizing that you're a critical role in all of that as well, even though it may be somewhat unseen and unlauded other than your annual budget presentation. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you for that. Are there any other comments or questions? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Olson.
Thank you, commissioners. Have a good day.
Thank you.